copy speed till I give it a read, keep it crisp in the sleeve. Every Tuesday night feels like Christmas Eve, living between Wednesdays.
What's up, folks? I'm your host, Conrad, on the Wednesday Night Reviews. And once again, tonight we are joined by Anthony Stokes, and we're going to talk about the new comic they have on Kickstarter, Tap or Die. Anthony, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Anytime, every time. Happy to have you. So, Anthony, just to start with, same as all my other interviews, for the folks who've maybe never seen your face, never heard your name, who is Anthony Stokes?
Man, I really just write, man. There's really not much to me. Like, this is literally all I do. I consume media. Sometimes I go outside against my will, but all I care about is making fiction, you know.
I love it. And obviously we're here to talk about your new book, Tap or Die. So what is it? If someone's never seen it, never heard of it, if it's brand new to them, what is it?
Tap or Die, it's basically a revenge comic, where instead of shooting people, you're wrestling people, like, more or less. And it's like a really raw, really gritty comic book. And it's about like being a newer writer, being a newer artist, and coming into a space with a lot of established names and dealing with the backlash from that, dealing with the culture clash, basically. So that's the space I was in.
Nice, interesting. And the campaign itself has actually been out for, I believe, 23 days.
22. I like that Canadian.
Yeah, it looks nice, doesn't
I like
it?
the way that looks. Yeah.
So yes, obviously you are in Canadian. You've raised $6,845 of a $4,628 goal, which I'm gonna say is what, 3,500 US?
30. Yeah. No, 3,000. I think.
3,000 flat.
Let me check real quick.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, clearly you've blown past the goal by $2 and a bit grand Canadian, so that's got to be what, 750 to 1,000 US.
You were right. It was 3,500.
I'm not bad at this.
Impressive.
I'm not bad at this.
Impressive.
And yeah, you've got 170 backers with 7 days to go. So for the folks out there, seven days, you can still back this book, get your copy. Can you explain basically the premise, just so people know what they're getting themselves into?
Absolutely. So it's guy Domino. He's a new up-and-coming fighter. He's butting heads with the older legacy wrestlers, and the commissioner screws him over to protect the legacy wrestlers, and then he starts to get revenge.
Perfect. And I got to ask, the previous books that we've talked about that you've written, Decay, which is sort of a horror book about revenge and family, and then we've got Intrusive Thoughts, which was definitely a mental health book, again along lines of horror. Yes. Tap or Die, because you've graciously sent me the first issue, is definitely not that. It does not look the same, feel the same, it reads different. What made you want to veer off in this new direction?
I think first off, I think this fits, like, when you have like an imprint or like Fire Entertainment. Part of that is establishing a brand, and I think that a theme, and I think that the theme still fits under dealing with trauma, right? Like, that's very much what this is about still. So I just want to put that out there. And then I wanted to do something broader. I wanted to do something that had like more mass appeal. Okay. After doing like Decay, which is a hard sell, and Intrusive Thoughts, which is an easier sell. And so when you walk past my con table, I want to have something for you. You know, and what kept happening to me when I was at cons was like, yo, do you like horror? No. Like, all right, thanks again. You know, maybe see you next year. So that was part of the decision, was to constantly have something like for somebody. Like, I want to explore like every genre. You know, like I mentioned, we alluded to backstage, I'm having a comedy coming out, a Western, a crime thriller. So it's a lot. I really want to touch upon every genre.
I dig it. And why wrestling?
Wrestling, I like wrestling because when you look at it like the sport, right? I'm a big sports fan. So a lot of times in sports, there's narratives and there's like history, and the best thing doesn't happen, right? So like in NBA, Lakers, Celtics are in the playoffs. They're really good teams. They
Mhm.
end up in the final four. They lose. Lakers versus Celtics in 2023 would have been amazing for the league. It would have been amazing for everybody. It didn't happen. It was Heat and Nuggets, and a lot of people didn't care about it. With wrestling, the most interesting scenario happens every time. So it's all about the narrative. And then I also think that wrestling fans, because of that, hopefully have more of a suspension of disbelief.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is one thing, Anthony, that I think you do. I want to say better than most people that I talk to.
Say everybody.
You definitely approach comics like from a very. The writing that you do in these books is interesting. It's introspective. It's written in a way that anyone who picks it up will be able to understand it and connect to it. But I think you bring a level, and I don't mean this in any negative way.
Yeah.
You bring a level of like business understanding that I don't think a lot of people have, because they want to create what they want to create, and it's passion, and
Yeah.
I love that. But there's something about you where you're just like, I can fit this genre, I can fit this style, this type of story. I'll play in this arena, and I'll probably do darn good because you're a good writer. Um,
Yeah. I agree.
and he's humble.
Were you well, yes, I have a practicality when it comes to making comic books, and for a couple of reasons. My writing journey started in 2000, let's say 2008, right?
Okay.
So my writing career, I didn't publish anything until 2021. So you're talking about 13 years of just heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
So when I start a series, I'm as attached as I need to be to get invested, but I also understand like this, in order for me to keep making these things, I have to make a return on them, right? And I think I think a problem people have potentially is you're trying to. I saw somebody say, "Oh, this is my saga. This is my Star Wars. This is Star Wars." Didn't start off like how you think, bro. Like Star Wars was a weird little movie
Yep.
that you're lucky got made, and then it spun off. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things that you really enjoy. I don't. The creator isn't always like, I'm gonna make my thing, my magnum opus, right? I think it's something that has to happen naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now I'm hearing you talk, I'm like, when I have a premise, I'm trying to get invested, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to then inject and have like a lot of story beats planned out. And then once I have the story beats planned out, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be sick, this is gonna be sick, this is gonna be sick. Then that's when I get invested. But I try to look at it like the heartbreak of not getting a campaign funded, for instance. I never want to feel that. I never want to feel that. I'm pissed off right now because I'm not at like $7,000. Like,
Yeah.
so I can imagine, I understand why it happens. I'm not trying to like poo poo on everybody, but I'm just trying to avoid that as well. And yeah, it is what kind of hurts is that you didn't mean that in a begrudging way, but a lot of people, it's like, oh, you care more about the business or you care more about this, that. It's like, no, nobody loves telling stories more than I do. And
Mm-hmm.
because I love that telling stories, I'm willing to do what it takes to make sure I can keep doing them. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's something, and like I mentioned earlier, I mean it's not a bad way at all, but you understand the business,
Yes.
because for the folks out there watching, and whether they're watching now live with us or if they're off on a future date, couple of days from now, checking this out, one thing that has consistently come up when I've talked to comic creators, especially those who go to a lot of cons, is, oh, I only have my one book, and it's really easy for people to look and just keep going, right? Because if you think about it, someone's walking through a con, they see a table, they see your face, they look at your book,
They see the Game of Thrones fan art next to your booth, and then they see the Demon Slayer, the whole rack.
Yep.
You've been to a con. There's an entire rack like up to the ceiling with just stolen IPs. That's what they're looking at. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's why it's just and gone.
Yeah.
Where, like you said, you want to have a variety of stuff out there. Now, one thing I wanted to ask, and me and you have talked about this. I actually think we've talked about this in a previous interview, and I've talked with this with other creators. There seems to be a really interesting overlap between comic book nerds, wrestling fans, or wrestling nerds, what do you want to call them? Because I think it's a story thing. So what words? Wow. What?
You want my theory on what's going on?
Why? What made you want to do a wrestling story, and why do you think these communities like have so much overlap?
I think like when you look at it, in order to become fanatical about something, and Russ, the rapper, said this, in order to be fanatical about something, has to be a lot of it. You have to have something to sink your teeth in, you know. So right, he said Game of Thrones, right? Let's say you watch Game of Thrones season 1. You can definitely watch that and enjoy it. But let's say it's season 6 and you watch an episode of season 6. Now you can go back and watch seasons 1 through 6. There's like this almost feral instinct to just consume. And that's when you see when there's a lot of lore, there's a lot of fandom. And what you're seeing is wrestling has a lot of lore, football, baseball. And what you're seeing is it's causing cultural clashes. I'll mention the NBA again. Because now the nerds they get MVP votes. The analytic guys, you know, like respectfully, they look like you. You know what I'm saying? They don't like they're not a huge black guy like me, you know, like they you know, and so you're seeing it play out in real time. And it's like, oh man, you ain't never hooped, you never threw football, you're like talking this and that. So yeah, and then the reason why I chose to do I love sports, and I truthfully love sports, and because this is my first time saying this, when I'm watching a movie, it is so hard, it's so hard for me to like turn off my analytical brain. It's it's so rare that I can just watch something and just get wrapped up in the narrative. I feel things. It will make me feel things, but it's been decades since I could just turn my brain off. And it's a trade-off I'll take. I do miss being able to be completely enthralled within the narrative. But at this point, I'm almost entirely just watching, like I'm looking at story structure, stuff like that. But when you can't do that with sports, when you're watching sports, you can't do that, you know? So that's part of the, like, it's one of the few ways I can consume something and feel true suspense.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because it's a live event. It's unfolding as we speak. It's not necessarily scripted. I mean, you know, people will say wrestling is scripted, blah blah blah, but they're really doing that stuff that they're doing out there. They're putting each other through tables. That's fascinating. That's a cool explanation. I dig that. So earlier you mentioned that the main plot of this story, it's sort of a revenge tale because the protagonist gets screwed over. What can you tell us about him? Who is the protagonist? What's he like? This very decked out, good looking dude, Domino. What's he all about? What's his story?
Bro, he just likes wrestling. Like, honestly, like he just truthfully loves wrestling. And we'll get into more. You know, you'll obviously get into more, but as far as the first is concerned, he's like a really talented guy, and he can't rise in the ranks because it's like, oh, we got the old guys here. You know what I'm saying? Like the old dudes are coming in here, they're stomping out innovation. Kind of sounds like comics a little bit, don't it? But
I was just gonna say, you know, me and you had this conversation about some of the stuff people were saying to you about you getting into comics and you just blazing on the scene. Interesting.
Well, when you and this does truthfully mirror it mirrors my comic book career. I'm not like, because when I came on the comics, I feel like I came into comics late, because they're like pre-pandemic. Oh my God, before Kickstarter was mainstream, I feel like it was so much easier because there wasn't a lot of competition, right? Now you have mad competition.
Massive.
You had a recession since then, 2 recessions since then, who knows? So I feel like I was starting late. So I come on, and I'm like, okay, I only have 200 Twitter. I had 200 Twitter followers in January of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I got like 6K now. And I was like, all right, first off, I'm going to go to a comic book website and I'm going to follow everybody they're following. So I would just follow like 500 people. They follow me back. They don't unfollow. And then I would just like keep doing that, amass them that way. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a bit of I guess you can say a heel turn. I'm gonna be a bit of a jerk. I'm gonna be like brass and abrasive to I would and I feel as if the way I came in, I've definitely made it harder for myself in a lot of ways. Like I don't really get a lot of support from the community in a general sense. You know, like if my campaign is failing, I'm gonna get a third of the swell that somebody might get that's like a nice guy. But it's also like the stakes are raised. Like my margin for error is so thin and it's a lot of pressure, but it's also made me get a lot better, you know. Like I feel like in Tap or Die is my best comic book, you know, like, and I feel like whatever I make after Tap or Die is gonna be my. I feel like I'm gonna be able to stack and get better because of the pressure I put on myself.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it's interesting too. Again, I want to focus on the book, so I will definitely do that after this one. But I think because you push yourself so much, because you, like you said, you don't turn off your brain. You're always sort of analyzing stories.
Yeah.
It's led you to be a better writer, to understand the business better, to know unfortunate, like again, not unfortunate for you. It's a good thing for you. You're being successful, clearly, but you know how to play the game, and you know it well. I think because, like I said, in 23 days or 20, however many days this has been out, you got 7 left. 25-day campaign, I believe it was. You've blown past your goal, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, just
in 60 hours. 60 hours we had the goal.
Damn. 60 hours.
I mean it's not bad, and it's not bad, but yeah, no, you do have to here's my thing, right? Here's my thing. And this is always my thing. You can make comics for whatever reason you want, right? You can make it to be a millionaire, and then you can make it just for your friends.
Hell yeah.
And you can make it to make a living. You can make it just keep making comic books. But you can't want to make a return on investment and then make the same moves as somebody that just wants to make it just to make it, right? They're not showing to the people. They're just posting online. They don't care what happens. You can't make those moves like those people. You have to make the moves like the people that are trying to make money. And when I pointed this stuff out, and I've gotten like eviscerated. But it's like, you know what? I'm gonna be around for a very long time. You know, you can say whatever you want. Proof is in the pudding. You know, like as they say, I'm dropping 6 comics a year at this point, and it's only going to go up. Like honestly, it might be 10 next year. It might be, you know, not that I'm independently producing like myself, but I've got a comic book coming out with my friend Charlie McElvey. I've got another book coming out with my friend Armin in the Sim. I got some work for hire stuff. I talk, you know, so it's like, you know what, y'all can be, the results will bear out, you know, like the results will bear out. I don't know. A lot of people are dropping 6 comic books a year, doing crowdfunding, 6, you know, and it is radicality, man. Like my family is my family is practical, you know, like I was raised in a practical environment, you know. Quick story. I was trying to go to college. This is like 5 years ago, 7 years ago. I was trying to go to college, and my job was conflicting with my college schedule. And my friend's mom was like, you should always go to school. So I was ready to quit my job. I go to home my mom, and I was like, yeah, Mom, I'm thinking about leaving my job. She was like, you don't leave a job without another job. I was like, I want to go to college. She's like, you're not going to do that and live here. And then I was like, everybody is telling me to go to college over my job. She was like, you can go live with them. Like that's a conversation I had.
Yeah.
Those are
Okay.
the conversations I had, and ultimately she was right. You know, she was right, but just having her as like a voice of just practicality of reason. I didn't always love the delivery, but ultimately she was right. So it's like that's the mentality. That's the mentality I have. You know, and it's also like this is really my friend Richard has a same. He's like nobody's asking you to do this. Nobody's begging you to do this. It's like if you're gonna make the commitment to do it, then do it, and whatever comes with that. You got to take a break. Take a break. You know, nobody's telling you not to take a break. Nobody's telling you to work your fingers to the bone, but some of this, you know, if you do the little things, do what you can. You know, do the little things, do what you can,
Yep.
and then, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be a tirade, but
No, I think you're right. I think the practicality, it's a good way to put it, is important because it's good to have dreams. It's good to pursue those dreams. But
yeah,
if you just if you just leap before you look, it could end real bad. Some people, it works for them. Great, good for them. But the vast majority, and it can end well. So I appreciate that.
yeah.
We also have a couple of commenters. So we've got Bleecker Street Comics has come on as I've been showing the art, saying great art.
Thank you.
Yeah, Glenn 2K12 saying hi guys. Hey Glenn, and talking to each other, and then Bleecker Street, who's actually a comic shop down in Niagara, says wrestling and great art. Take my money. Well, that's why we're here. Bleecker Street,
No.
head over to Kickstarter, tap or die #1. Go right ahead, get yourself a copy.
See, he said that. He said take my money, but I don't see the number going up. In my experience, I have a running joke. Like anytime somebody says take my money, they never buy. They never buy anything, bro.
Well,
It's never happened. I've never converted a take my money meme into a purchase.
interesting.
Yeah,
Well, we'll have to see.
you know what it is though, and I get why. It's just almost like it's not literal. It's just a meme. Like it's literally a meme where it's like
Yeah.
it's more of a mark of quality than
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's not
That's a
like
good way to put it. But Anthony, we are at link. Okay, bear with me. Control C. Link is in the comments, people. Go for it.
Please.
One thing I do want to bring up, we're 23 minutes in, so we're a little past when I would normally want to do this. But for the folks out there who are wanting links, just so they know what they're getting themselves into. So one, I like to clarify, the book is already done. You've sent me a copy. I've read the whole thing. It looks great. But the important part, for someone who maybe has never backed, for someone who, is a little afraid to drop the cash on it, I would love to cover. Oh, he's got a copy of the book. Of course he does. Hold on. There he goes. He's got the book in hand, ready to rock.
Yeah.
What are the tiers available? And I've got them on screen for easy reference.
So I think some of my favorite tiers is you get the digital deluxe that comes with an interview, a written interview, and it comes with a copy of every cover. You have the standard standard copy for $15 US,
Nice.
$5 shippings. You have multiple covers. You can just scroll through you want to scroll through the covers on the left side.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, there. Wait, is it? Bear with me. So I want to be clear. Is this cover A?
This is cover A. Yeah,
this is cover A. Okay. So I dig this one. This one's well done.
Thank you. Yeah, trying to show off the attitude, love what David Mejia did with the glossy kind of. I don't know, man.
It's a good render. It looks really good.
That dude is sick, man. That dude is sick. I got a lot of great artists on here, man. I truthfully Restivo, man. He's doing interiors for a book with me, so that's good news, man.
Oh, good. Because I'm not gonna lie, I think this is my favorite cover because I think this is just, it's tense. It puts you right in the action. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
I like it. That's just cool to me.
Hell yeah.
Then we jump to, how do you say the creator's name? The artist's name?
I'm not sure. Zine Mart.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be funny. I argue with my friend Chris all the time about how to pronounce their name, but they're incredibly talented. This is definitely my highest selling cover, for sure, 100%. So they did their thing.
Yeah. And then we've got the NSFW version,
Yeah,
censored for Kickstarter.
yeah,
And I think, now wait a minute. Do you have a bundle that gets all of these covers?
yeah. You scroll down, it's like $80 for all five, and then 60 for just the normal, like safer work bundle. I called it.
Let's say, yeah, SFW bundle, $60, $80 Canadian plus shipping. And yeah, you get Tapper Digital Issue 1, Deluxe PDF, and then all the covers, and then the NSFW bundle, which includes, well, the NSFW cover. Also, one thing I wanted to bring up, Anthony, on the end of the NSFW, the sex. Thank you. No. So here's the thing: this book is not meant for kids, clearly.
No.
And anyone who's actually picked it up, just the way that it's drawn, it does not look like something a kid should be reading.
No.
And there we go. And the way that she wrote the characters in this book, especially the women, they didn't feel like a prop. Now, obviously, we're showing a sex scene here. But the way that this character appears previously in the book, she's not just there to be sexy. And I appreciate that because I don't think there is enough dialogue about, especially in the comic space, about things like sex, sexuality, all the above. So whenever we can get a little bit of it, I think it's a good thing.
Real quick, I mean, I truthfully try to have every character just do something interesting, and I have extra consideration when it's a female character, right? You want to represent the world, but I think she has a lot of personality, right? That's what we want to get across. She has a lot of personality. It's so funny to say. Genuinely, she has a lot of personality. Yeah. He has a lot of personality. I mean, the guy. What I try to do is like also have the guys filmed. You're always gonna have a male gaze. Right, like I'm always gonna have a male gaze, being a straight male. But I think we can try, right? We can try to show his physicality in an appealing way.
Yes,
to balance things out, and then like they have a dynamic. It's a push and pull dynamic as well. Like that's also what we're going for. So I don't think it's that. I hear you, bro. It is a lot of times where it just feels like they're just eye candy. I don't know. I can't do it. Like I literally couldn't write a character that was that. You gotta have something. You have to have something going on. And it's cool for characters to be sexy. Like I said, I just feel like it should be equal opportunity. I think it should be everybody should be sexy. Or you should have a sexy, you can have a sexy woman, have a sexy man, all that. Yeah.
And I mean, in the case of Domino, you've got a wrestler who's just ripped, sick costume, like it is definitely the male gaze
There's
set
an
up.
erection in there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I thought, honestly, in the way that you did that, it was fun, funny. It felt very natural.
Thank you.
Yeah. So because you've written so many different things. Yeah. When you started writing this, how did you start sort of, I guess, configuring it in your brain? Like what made you go, cool, Tap or Die, here's what's going on, here's how we started it? Like what was the first thought, the spark, if you will?
So I was talking to my boy Christopher Curtis, and he actually had the base idea for Tap or Die, because I was trying to get as many, I was trying to start more projects, right? And successfully. Like it's obviously. And so he came up to wrestling, and I was like, I thought, but basically what I said, like, okay, yeah, if it's wrestling, it can be more adult. Like, oh, we can have like the sex appeal, you know what I'm saying? We can play with more adult themes, it's going to be flashy. It has a built-in audience, so that's where we started with the wrestling.
Interesting. And one thing I want to ask is, Domino himself, how'd you come up with that stage name? Like the pants with all the dominoes all over them. Is there any deeper meaning to it? Is it just you or someone in your family likes dominoes and it just kind of clicked? I don't mean I mean the game. Although
no, I got you. So it's been a while since I started, and I'm working on so many things. Like
Yeah.
once I get an idea, that's the idea it's always been. You know, like it's hard for me to reverse engineer what I was thinking because I'm like
Yeah.
always with these stories. I think the dude did the story. I think he said dominoes was a metaphor for like things being knocked down or something like that. I
Whoa.
like the idea. Anytime I play dominoes or spades, things get really tense. I think it was domino flip. I think that was domino flip. So it's not that deep for me. And then it's just you just want the motif. I think it's iconic. You know, you want something iconic, simple. You know, something that somebody might wear. You know, so yeah.
Because yeah, I think it's real classy. Like he looks good from a character design. I also appreciate his I don't know if it's a goatee because he's got like the chin strap, he's got the chops that come out. It's also very square. I don't know if that's intentional. I picked up on it. I thought it was cool.
No, I like it
Also,
too.
yeah. Also on the screen to the right of the beautiful illustrations, which are extremely dynamic, we have probably the coolest thing that I like about indie comics that you cannot get at wherever it might be, Image, DC, Marvel, wherever. And you actually have 4 people already who've done this. So I guess your artist has got a lot of drawing to do. So if someone wanted to become a wrestler, be drawn into the next issue, as well as get basically every issue of the comic, all the covers, all the previous stuff, for $300 US, $397, $400 Canadian, they could have themselves drawn into a comic.
Yeah.
I always like to ask this question because it's a cool idea to be able to be put into a comic. I've done it myself with SPQR, so I will be drawn into the Age of Rome. When you're allotting that, how do you script that in? Like for you, Anthony, have you written issue 2 already with like, oh, we have a background character who's going to be backer number whatever, or is it just once this is done, because the way you're working, you'll have to sit down and write issue 2 and account that?
I think you have it. I have it in mind where I'll have the people at. Right, there's gonna be I just wrote issue 2 of Tempered Out today. Funny enough, and there's gonna be a locker room scene where you can show off the wrestlers and that.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's just like little pockets of where like, all right, if 20 people signed up, we might have a problem, but like 10 people, we can do it. You can show them on a poster, right? Like, so it's just about getting creative, you know.
That's cool. Have you snuck yourself or any of your friends into any of your books?
Or my friend JP, my best friend, I designed her just after her on Decay. Yeah, my mom is in a comic book. Somebody I think my artist put me in Decay. I didn't ask to do that. I feel as if like I inject so much of myself in my stories, and I really don't want it to be about me. You know, I really want it to be about the story. You know, I don't look like this. Like I really do not look like this. Also, one quick thing on his design. He's designed like this because Randy, his idol, had a bush when he was watching. So that's why he got the afro.
Okay. So I gotta find it because I think this is my favorite page in this whole book.
Yeah.
Because we've got the TV program with Randy in the back with his, I guess it's film reels. And then we've got a very young Domino here. All the real deal because it's like a film reel. Cool. This wrestler's name is Randy Real Deal.
Yeah.
You had a lot of fun with that. And so Domino later on copies Randy's style. He's got the fro and a similar pant with dominoes on it. What was the first sort of establishing page you wrote for this, or that came to mind? Like my brain would go to this because this is so iconic. It sets a mood. You automatically know what's going on in this story when I show you this. But for you in the writing process, what actually came first? Do you remember?
It's like I said, it's hard for me to reverse engineer the story because to me, this is always. It's like I feel as if there's only one true way to write a story. A lot of times, it's just a philosophy I have. It's hard to tell. I can tell you that probably was on the earlier stages. Like I can tell you what was a late edition. The sci-fi element was definitely like a later edition. Iris and Domino are always there. Dick was always there. Like I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's like hurting my brain trying to parse what came out when. But definitely, we can definitely say that was early.
Perfect. And quick shout out, Iman's World of Geeks. Thanks for subscribing. Go check out right now Kickstarter Tap or Die #1. If you're liking the book, grab it. So I guess, Anthony, real quick, we're about 36 minutes in here. For the folks who are tuning in who very well might want to follow you, see what else you've done, get your other work, what's the best place for them to follow you? Where and how can they get your books? All the above. Shamelessly self-promotion. Go for it.
I ain't even that many places, bro. I'm on Twitter at Stokes the Writer, like at the handle. I'm on YouTube. We don't really upload to YouTube anymore, but Super Comic Bros. And then Instagram.com/Decay Comic.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And if someone wanted to get a hold of Decay or Intrusive Thoughts, what's the best way right now? Kickstarter. Yep. Oh, so you mean when they get one of these tiers, like for instance, your $5 or $7 Canadian digital copy of #1, they can go ahead and get things like Intrusive Thoughts. Or perhaps, I believe it's a little lower, right? Yeah. Or perhaps Decay.
Also a banger.
Absolutely. If folks watching, whether you're watching live with us now or in the future, if you're unsure, we've interviewed Anthony on both of these books. So follow the links. Then I guess, Anthony, one thing I've got to ask, we mentioned it backstage, as you said, the book is done. You're already working on the next thing. What is the next thing? Can you tell us at all?
Bro, I'm really not trying to start any more new series. Like I swear to God. Like I'm done. Like I want my 2024 to be work for hire stuff being released, Intrusive Thoughts, Tap or Die. That's what I want. Like some simple, like I have a comedy I'm working on right now. Can't say too much about. Well, I mean, I can, but I won't because it'll be a hold. I'll get started. It'll be hard to stop. But I'll say the genres I'm working on next are comedy. A Decay spinoff is in the works right now, actually.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's halfway done. It's gonna be like 50 pages. It's halfway done right now. A Western, a Decay Western. Some Decay shorts. Intrusive Thoughts 2 is starting production later this month. I think like in a week or two. Yeah. So I got a manga dropping in August next month. Yeah. So I'll be back.
The man who never sleeps.
I don't. You don't know how apt that is, man. Like, oh my God. This is gonna be a 14-day campaign though. This is gonna be a mini. Yeah, it's gonna be.
Just one guy. Okay. Well. Yeah. People will all have to make sure I tweet about it, put it out there because that'll be quick. Then talk about manga and stuff. So the interior art. Sorry for the folks watching, that was a lot. Because it's black and white, and because of the harsh blacks to it, right? Like all the shading is done with cross hatching or just plain hatching, or these super deep blacks.
Yeah,
it feels a little bit like a manga or a manga.
Yeah.
So I am so sorry. There, I'm just going to use it right here. How did you hook up with Emilio? How did your partnership with them come about? Like, how'd that all go?
So I mean, I was just looking for artists, right? Like, it's usually a pretty, to be honest, it's usually a pretty cynical process, right? Like, you look good, I'm gonna try to hire you. Emilio, what I appreciate about him is, one, these black and white pages look finished. They don't look like unfinished. They don't look like they're waiting to be colored. I don't want to color them personally. I'm not going to say it'll never happen. Like, I will drop if there's a demand, I will drop a colored version, but I think the pages work on their own. I do have a major manga influence. I'm assuming he does too, and I think it picks its spots. I mean, Berserk, I sent references images of Berserk, like essentially, yeah. So, and what I think that he's also really good at is expressions. Like for me, I'm very particular about how I want my expressions, and you can see like all these moments. Like, can you scroll up a little bit?
Yeah.
Scroll up. See, like that expression right there where he's smiling. That expression right there where he's drinking the soda. It's like his body language. Like he really because I don't think English is his first language. I'm pretty sure it isn't. He gets a lot of the nuances that I'm really trying to go for, because I'm like every page, like for me it's like, I can only, the most I want to make is like a 32 page book. If it's not a graphic novel, the longest floppy I want is 32 pages of material. And it's like we got to use every pixel, we got to use every like frame, panel, excuse me. And it's like we got to like really get into, I really try to get into the nitty gritty of the character and have every single thing that character does inform on what they're about. So you even look at this, like that bottle has an image of Randy on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're trying to like just inject as much character as possible. So like you gotta be able to hit those notes.
When you were writing this, because for the folks out there who maybe aren't aware or haven't really looked into it, because I know when I started doing the show, I hadn't really. As a writer, you can give a lot or very little direction to your artist and just say, hey, like this scene could have been written, for the big part here, Domino walks into a room with his manager and this other wrestler. We see another panel of Domino sitting, holding a bottle with the two guys across the way. Domino drinks with them on either side, and then they have a little argument. Like that could have been literally the whole direction. Because these are so detailed and crammed with stuff, what I wanted to ask was like, what level of detail did you write throughout, like from page to page? Are you giving like a detailed thing, like, oh, I want cups and papers on tables, this dude should have this specific thing going on, like, or did you just let Emilio do his thing and he came up with a lot of it?
I think it depends, right? So if it's an emotional beat or a dramatic beat, then I'm more or less adding the little details. If it's action stuff, I'll let them cook, because really what I care about is the character beats, is the drama. Mm-hmm. So I want the little nuances there. We got to kind of fit. And then like what I think, like if you scroll down just a little bit, like I love this panel right here. This panel right here where he's standing over him. It's a forced perspective, and it's like it's really abrasive. That's what I like. And then he took something that could have looked kind of boring, and then I said above shot. I didn't say an above shot with the forced perspective and all that stuff. So I think it's a good mix of both. And what I like about Emilio does not have like half-ass anything. You know what I'm saying? Like he's really trying to make every panel look as good as possible.
And honestly, that's one of the things that when I read the book itself, like the art jumps at you because it is so stylized, and those special perspectives that Emilio is using, and the way that like the hatching even works, like the literal hatching on the walls to add that color, on his muscles, the doorway here, it all like tears you down right into where Domino's sitting, and just the way everything flows. Like I'll go back to another shot that I love. Come on, where is he throwing him? There. This absolutely. What I love about it is it directs your eye in such a cool way, right? Because you get this thing where Domino's clearly looking like he's tired, and then as soon as this dude lumbers over to him, you've got this beautiful panel where the hatching on the bottom actually twists towards Domino, and then all of this flows this way, and it gets you in this circular motion that follows the flip or the throw. Like that is amazing art, and the perspective as well is just so good. Is there a piece that you saw of his that jumped out at you, or did you say, hey, draw me something of mine, and he drew a panel and you were like, oh, sold?
I pretty much knew he was. I knew he was the artist. Because I really look for technique, and I look for, basically technique, right? Because you can do great on your own stuff. You can do great on stuff. He also did sequentials. I saw he did sequential art. I didn't know he'd be this good. I didn't know the comic would look this good, black and white. I can't say enough how good of a job he did on that. Like, he really knocked out the park.
Yeah, killer art. Like, you gotta like it. So folks out there, if you're getting a copy of it, where is it? Personally, that's my favorite cover. There is a more NSFW or naughty cover, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think that's the killer one to go with. In that case, Anthony, one thing I want to ask is, because we've covered a lot, we've covered the cost of the books. People are going to get this book. So when people order it, say if they get just the digital issue, 7 Canadian, 5 US, and the campaign's done in 7 days, when can people expect to get the digital copy?
Pretty much. I mean, I would like to do it the very next day. Definitely, like, I like to let the pledges go through. So what Kickstarter does is starts to take out the money, and then you'll get errant pledges. So people need to update their. If it's not too many errant pledges, I'll just do it the next day. Like,
nice.
I mean, because it feels nice checking that box. Like, okay, we have, like, how many digital rewards? How many did we got?
Quite a few.
35 and then 31. So 60. I'm knocking out 60 pledges like that, and that it feels nice.
Absolutely. One thing I've never asked anyone this before, but I'm curious, when it comes to doing that, do you have to literally go in and send it, or does Kickstarter have a service that does that for you?
I DM people. It's funny because I'm not emailing you, bro. Like, I'll email you if I have to. I'm not emailing like 100 different people. So I send it through Kickstarter messages, and it's funny because obviously our level, the margin of error. If DC messes up your book, you'll buy more DC books. But if, like, one of us messes up your book, you might be cooked. So it's like, this one dude was like, "Hey, I didn't get my PDF." He comments it on the main page, and he comments it on an update. I'm like, yo, check your messages. Like, why didn't you message me? And because it looks bad. That was something we went through. You know what I'm saying? So I try to bang it out, put in the messages, and then also I like that personally because then it's in one location. Like, I don't have to dig through my emails for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to dig through my emails for your PDF. I can just go to my messages.
Interesting. I dig that. That's a really good idea. Oh, you've gone a little blurry on us. Get a little closer to that camera for me.
Bro, it never works. Okay. It's been behaving today.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. So we're in the last, like, 12 minutes of the interview or so. I'm going to end up asking my two favorite questions in a bit. But what I did want to ask, given this is about wrestling, growing up, did you watch wrestling a lot?
I did watch a fair amount of wrestling, yeah, growing up.
Do you have a favorite wrestler or organization?
Stone Cold. I just love his attitude. I love his abrasiveness. Like, everything about him, I just love, like, that cockiness. I need it.
Fair, and it suits you. Again, I say it with love, Anthony. Absolutely.
No, I mean, I got you.
Is there anything out there that you want the fans to know that we haven't covered yet? Anything about the book, about what you're doing, anything like that?
Yeah, so I don't know if people notice, it's actually a homage to a Young Jeezy song called Trap or Die. Obviously, trapping being the act of selling drugs or selling something you're not supposed to be selling. And I came to me, I was literally, because we were like, I was like, Chris, we gotta think of a name for this. We gotta think of a name. Like, what are we gonna do? And I was sleeping, and it just came to me while I was, like, falling asleep. Like, because I think about story. Like, I will play a story I've written in my head before I go to bed. Like, I'm literally all the time, bro. I think about. So like Trap or Die, Trap or Die. I love the rap connection. I love the attitude. And then I don't know if you can see, I actually have this probably gonna put up. I got a little quote right here. That's a quote from
Oh,
the that's a quote right. Oh shit, right
there
there.
you go. There you go. Let's check this.
So famous line, you know what I'm saying, from Trap or Die.
I dig
So
it.
yeah, I like anytime you can bring a rap reference in there. It's really cool. I was curious, like, what you thought about the book.
Um, where to start? Honestly, the action just drew me in. Like I said, like I will go back to this page infinitely. That being because I believe in the book that is literally the second page.
That's the third page.
Thank you. Well, okay,
Yeah.
your quote and then the 2 pages of comics. So we've got this beautiful setup where you're seeing this extremely dense apartment building. You got this little kid just absolutely idolizing his hero. And then you see what he's doing, right? He's built his own ring. Mom's just chilling on her phone, being like, yeah, the kid's fine, having a good time. And that iconic shot, it set up this story so good. And then you've got, it's what, 15 years later, and we've got him here and he's doing his thing. Like it, the way that informs the reader about everything you need to know about this character. Is it simple? Absolutely. Is it this kid loves wrestling and now we're wrestling in the future? Cool. But you get it. He's diehard. He's emulated his the person he looked up to. And then immediately we get this giant throw, which again, I love. Um, what I dug about it though is you've got all this flash on stage, and I appreciate, and again, this comes back to our conversation we've had about sort of the backstage of making comics and how you're good at the business of comics in the game. The real interesting stuff, again, like a little kid might prefer the action, but the real interesting stuff came when it was all about his manager and the way that the more advanced, the more seasoned, the veteran wrestlers were basically, oh, wait your turn, we'll
Yeah.
call you up. And just the way that he was like, no, I'm going to keep pushing. And this conversation actually that happens here where they talk about, I believe she says, well, you can't keep hurting people. And his manager's like, look, you got to cool it with injuries and hurting other wrestlers.
It's
He's
actually
like,
real quick. He's like, hey, he's like, keep fighting the lower division. He's like, if I keep fighting these guys, it won't be a lower division. And then
yes.
And then Iris says, if you put the entire division in the hospital, it'll have to move you up, which ends up being the plot of the story, which is
Sick.
Yeah. So I actually like that line. I think that says a lot. And again, you're trying to like develop character really fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that line does that little interaction. Like maybe I take that interaction out and you are like, oh, she is just here like to be eye candy. But when you add that moment in, that little joke right there, and then like this back and forth right here, like it's like a push and pull essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I think that's what drew me into the book. This interaction had a lot to do with it, that opening page and the throw, and just like the extreme tension of scenes like this. Like what I enjoy is often in any sort of political drama, you'll have like, oh, the president and some CEO and some like, I don't know, terrorist leader, and they're in a room, and these people might not look intimidating, but because you know who they are and the power that they wield, it's like a tense thing. What I liked about this was the blunt face of it, right? You've got three guys sitting down where the manager doesn't look like he can do much of anything compared to Domino and the other guy. Yeah, who are just physically massive. Like it's an interesting juxtaposition where, to me, the action in this book is actually what they're talking about, not what they're doing on the arena. And then the way that the tension in scenes like this fold out, that's what kind of got me. And it was so cool. And the fact that, like, little smackdown here and there happens. Gotta like it because it's just entertaining. But yeah, that's sort of what I got. It just as a first issue, as an intro to a series, this thing yanked me in, and I was like, okay, tap or die. Here we go. What's coming next?
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I agree. It's great series.
Yeah, so we've got 4 minutes left in the hour. My last two questions, same as always. Anthony, currently, when you're not working your day job, not writing 6 comic series at a time, and trying to find time to sleep, what are you currently reading? Whether it's comics, books, fiction, history, podcasts, whatever. What are you enjoying?
I love like basketball, like content. The actual sport I'm fine with, but I love like it's narrative driven, and I love slander. Like I love how like LeBron James is like the second best at worst, the second best basketball player of all time, and it's like he gets like dunked on all the time. Like I just love how it's like, what have you done for me lately? I love that. I've been reading a lot of comic books lately. I read Do a Powerbomb. I read Ultimate Spider-Man lately. I could like, it's just hard for me to even articulate. I saw Infinity Pool because so much it is like really truthfully so much of my time goes into. I played Kirby. It's coming back to me. It's Kirby. I played Tears of the Kingdom. So I mean, it's just a little here or there. I used to consume way more media, man. I really miss back in the days. All I did was watch. There was a day where I watched Fight Club, then I watched the director's commentary, and then I had like the writer's commentary on it. So I took a nap. Like I can't do that. In one day, I can't do that no more.
No, that's a lot to digest. Holy cow!
I just don't have the time. Like I do not have the time.
Interesting. And then I guess our last question, you've kind of already covered it. But for the folks out there, where can they follow you once again? Where can they get the books? All that good stuff. Go for it.
Absolutely. So you can find me at Stokes the Writer. You can find Tap or Die. You can search Tap or Die comic. It'll come up. It'll be the first result. And then on my Instagram is instagram.com/Decay comic.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And for the folks out there in YouTube land, whether you're watching with us now live, thank you, or sometime in the future, again, go back the book, comment down below what you thought of Anthony, what you think of his current book he's working on, Tap or Die, or if you've read his other ones, let me know. And subscribe for more, and we'll see you next time.
See you.
Adios.
Golden age to present, digest to oversize. Never miss new comic day. Yeah, no surprise. So where's my no prize? Check the letter columns. Can't find issue 2? Nah. Collector problems, cliffhangers, mysteries. You need answers. When did Batman become Green Lantern? I get it. True believer, not lying. Always up for an awesome summer crossover tie-in.